y'all. Welcome to the Honest to Goodness podcast,
where we give you our honest opinions
on good entertainment. I'm Morgan.
I'm Kerri.
I'm Nicole. And without further ado,
here's today's episode.
We hope you enjoy.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Honest to Goodness podcast, where we give you our honest opinions on good entertainment. I'm your host, Kerri, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Nicole. And today we're going to be talking about the Great American Family movie, I'll Be Home for Christmas. But it's not I-L-L, I'll, it's A-I-S-L-E, I'll Be Home for Christmas. Because one of the things I loved about this movie was the fact that 99% of it was in the store.
The store, yeah.
Like, you don't see that, but I loved it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was like to come up with an entire movie literally in one location. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty ingenious. So what are some of your thoughts on this movie?
I thought the storyline, while it was much like a lot of the other movies, it was different in some ways as well. And I loved the creativity of the one location.
Yeah.
Throughout most of the movie.
Yeah, I agree.
I thought the chemistry was great too.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I loved the chemistry. I loved the banter.
Mm-hmm.
I loved that they put kind of a little side romance that isn't developed yet, but you can tell it's there.
Yeah. Yes.
To it. I really liked a lot about this movie. Like you said, it was pretty typical in a lot of ways, but they did do some things differently that kind of made it stand out to me. So
yeah.
Shall we jump into it?
Let's get into it.
All right. We start this movie off with a snowstorm rolling in as Drew approaches Angela's supermart. Michelle runs back in the store because she has forgotten her Christmas wreath, as she does every year, apparently. Just as she reaches for the wreath, Drew grabs it at the same time. They are surprised to run into each other after all these years because, now I will admit, there were a couple of times that I felt like things didn't quite line up.
Yeah.
Like in the story or whatever, but Angela later says that they were high school sweethearts.
Yeah.
Which would have indicated that Drew grew up there. In which case, why would he not have known any of the people that he was there with, for one thing?
That's true. Yeah.
But then Drew later said, that was Kristen texting me. So hi, Kristen. But Drew later says that they dated in college. So, but that's not correct. That's not right either, because Michelle says that they went to different colleges.
Yeah.
When the heck did this couple date?
Was it high school or was it college? Let us know in the comments below.
I just realized how confusing this is. See, this is why you proofread your work when you write it.
Yeah. It was still good, but that was the one thing that confused me.
Yeah, like it just like it somewhat confused me, but I just kind of overlooked it. But now it's like just really clicking with me how off that was, and I was like, okay, yeah, the perfectionist snob watching movies side of me is coming out, and we're not 5 minutes into this. This is good.
Yeah,
I really did love the movie. But yes, so we have Drew is in town from Manhattan
to visit.
He's living in
His Aunt Bev.
Mm-hmm. And it's the first Christmas without his Uncle Doug.
Yes.
Yep.
Mhm.
We find out that Drew wanted to be in family law, but he ended up in contract arbitrations, and he is making partner at the firm he is working at.
What is contract arbitrations? Is that like something to do with trees? Because I know Arbor, like Arbor Day is like,
That's a really good question. I do not know the answer to that.
I just a question I had. If y'all know the answer, let us know.
Yeah. If I did not have my phone sitting on an opposite side of the room to give me Wi-Fi, I would look it up. But
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question. We'll find out that Angela has fulfilled her childhood dream of becoming a veterinarian, and she now runs her own clinic and is applying for a new grant.
Yep.
The store is closing early while Drew and Michelle are standing there talking. Angela comes over the loudspeaker and is letting people know, they're going to be closing early because of the storm.
Yep.
How about when I loved Angela watching Drew and Michelle together.
Yeah.
So how about when they come back to the register and
You want to read for Angela and I'll do Michelle?
sure. Oh, you found it.
Yes.
I'll just do Drew too. We did.
Yes. Well, Drew let me have the last one. He was the perfect gentleman.
Ah, chivalrous and oh, so very Christmassy. The perfect combination. She is like, she doesn't even know who this guy is, and she's trying to set her best friend up. Like, this is best friends for you. And then Drew gets a phone call, and as soon as he walks off, Michelle's like, Angela, this is the Drew. Drew. Go ahead. Yeah. Yes.
Drew.
Yes.
You're Drew? What is he going here?
Doing here. Sorry, typo.
I
typed, y'all. Well, we're looking at notes right here. Okay, we have figured out that it is way too much work for all of us to try to come up with notes for this, so we decided to split it up. And so Nicole is trying to read off of the notes that I gave her for this one, and she did the notes for the last one. So yeah, I had a typo there, but I love when Michelle like pays for her order, she turns to leave and Angela's like, no hug.
And Drew's like, what?
And Michelle's just standing there glaring at her. Like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, the wit and just the matchmaking in this movie was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the storm hits.
Yeah.
And everyone's stranded. I did like this line from Angela when she said, okay, well, people make plans and God laughs, because that feels like the last several years of my life, to tell you the truth. Like, I have stopped trying to make plans because it seems like no matter what I have planned, it has not gone that way. And it's just easier to just go with the flow than it is to try to make a plan and it not go that way. And then you're just like stuck trying to figure everything out, It's just a little easier to just go with the flow.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. I try to have a basic outline, like a penciled in plan. I do not try to use pen for anything anymore.
Yeah.
But Oh man. So we had the conversation between Michelle and Drew where she's blaming herself for being stranded because she forgot the wreath.
Mhm.
And Drew is like, no, I kept you here talking too long. She was like, I should have already been on my way to the post office to get, she had to get the grant papers notarized and then take
Yes.
them to the post office, or she was going to miss a deadline. And Drew's like, and I kept you here talking. Like, this is my fault.
Mhm.
If you
Yeah.
wouldn't have, if I hadn't kept you here talking, you would have been on your way before the storm hit.
Mhm.
What did you think of Richie? The character of Richie?
I thought he was a good character. That is a lot
Yeah.
of blocks to walk in the cold.
Right? Especially
Yeah.
essentially in a blizzard. Like, it's a whiteout where you can't really see anything.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, his car battery dies and he walks 4 blocks in this blizzard
Mhm.
and finds the store, and Michelle lets him in, so they can get him all warmed up.
Yeah.
Yep. Do you want to take a little bit?
Sure. I love that next scene when Angela, Courtney, and Richie go make hot chocolate, leaving
Mhm.
Michelle and Drew alone to chat. Drew
Mhm.
assumes that the clinic is going through hard times because Michelle is applying for a grant, but she is simply wanting to expand the clinic.
Mm-hmm. So that's one thing that I've loved, and I know we've mentioned this several times, but I feel like Great American Family and Great American Channel, I guess, and Hallmark both have done a little bit better about not just having the same pat storylines. Like, in your average Hallmark movie, she would have, the clinic would have been struggling and he would have been trying to come up with a way to help her save it and whatever, but nothing's wrong. She's just wanting to expand.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. And then she walks off and Drew comes to find her.
Yeah.
I like when he asks her, you ever wonder what if? And she says, about us. And he says, sure, about us, about everything. Something tells me that all roads would have led you to the same place, even if we'd stayed together. You would have stayed in Parker and you would have opened up your own clinic. And the only variable would have been, and she says, us. He said, yes, us. And yet here we are sitting at Angela's Supermart, surrounded by Christmas decor and watching Yule logs burn in the fireplace, even sitting on a really comfortable couch together. She said, except we would have been surrounded by cats and dogs.
Yeah.
He mentions the polar bears.
Polar bears. Yeah.
But I thought that was really sweet. That one took me back to Shoe Addicts Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah.
With Candace Cameron Bure.
Because that one was kind of similar to this one a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Although there were more scenes outside of the store in that one than there are in this one.
I guess where it relates in my mind is just that when he says that all roads would have led her to the same place, even if they had stayed together.
Yeah.
In Shoe Addicts Christmas, she gets to see, it's sort of along the lines of It's a Wonderful Life, except in It's a Wonderful Life, he gets to see what life would be like for everybody else if he hadn't been born. And in Shoe Addicts Christmas, she gets to see what her life would be like if she had made different choices.
Yeah.
And but that even though she made these choices that have taken her around the cowshed to get to where she's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And that's a line from another movie. But she still is ending up where she's supposed to be with the person that she's supposed to be with.
Yeah.
So I guess call it fate, call it destiny,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it. But that's just kind of the image that I get in my mind.
Yeah.
I did think it was interesting when they were drinking the hot chocolate that Angela said that the secret to the best hot chocolate is multiple flavors of hot chocolate and whipped cream. I kind of want to try that now.
I do too.
Like that would be, I mean, how would you do that? Like, would it just be like different brands? Or
I don't know.
Maybe like a milk chocolate and a rich chocolate mixed together or something? Or
I don't know.
I really want to try that now, though.
Yeah.
Like I love hot chocolate, so
Yeah.
that makes me curious to try that.
Yeah. They soon hear a mysterious toy train whistle, which sends Michelle and Drew on a search for the noise, especially since Angela says the train broke that morning. They find Coach, whose name is Tristan Haven. He is fixing the train. He mistakes Drew for Michelle's husband, leading them to getting embarrassed and explaining they dated in college, but they aren't married.
Yeah. Which, again, I'm sorry, but if this is his vet, like, if this is the person that takes care of his animal, I'm assuming it's a dog. I don't know. I know its name is Nutmeg, but past that, I don't know. But if this is his vet, he's obviously known her. He's obviously known Michelle for a long time. She takes care of his kids' pets. Would he not know whether or not she was married? Like, you would think.
He should know.
Yeah. Yeah. The more I'm dissecting this, the more amateur writing I'm seeing in this. I'm sorry.
It's
like,
a
I've
good
noticed
movie.
it before, but it is. It's a really good movie. I'm just noticing I'm telling y'all, I'm a snob. I can't help it.
It's okay. It's all right.
Oh man, trust me. I try to be as objective with my own writing as on stuff as I am with everybody else's, but not saying I hit that every time, because it's a lot easy. It's a lot easier to see mistakes when you're not in it. Like when you're just observing something, it's a lot easier to look at something, which is why I'll send what I write or whatever to multiple people and kind of go, okay, what do what you got? Because I know it's easier to be objective when you're on the outside. I thought it was funny that Tristan's kind of standing there or sitting there watching the two of them get all flustered, and he's like, well, I'm glad we got that cleared up. Well, whoever you are, it's not the news.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Yep.
Tristan got stranded because he was looking for a Sylvia robot building kit for his 7-year-old granddaughter. Then he got distracted fixing the train.
That is a man for you.
Yeah, that's why he didn't hear the 10-minute warning or whatever for the store closing, because he was fixing this train.
Yeah, just curious, like, because Angela had already, had told them that the train broke that morning. What were you expecting? Like, were you expecting them to find someone there, or did you really have anything in mind?
I guess I thought that they would find someone there. I think that's what I originally thought.
Yeah. I'm not sure that I really had a particular expectation of what was about to happen there. So that was then they decide to decorate a Christmas tree
in the store.
And yes, I love when Drew asks Angela if she has a tree they could borrow. She's like, does Rudolph have a big red nose or a shiny red nose, or however was she worded it?
Yeah.
And Drew tells Michelle that he still has the polar bear ornament she gave him years ago on the mantle in his apartment.
Yep.
I
I have some ornaments that I keep on my bookshelf.
Aw, I love that.
Those being the calls the heart ornaments. Like when it's not Christmas and they're not on my tree, I put them on my bookshelf, the church/school and the water tower.
Aw, I love that.
This little decoration.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, thanks.
I
just had to mention that fun fact.
Yeah, no, I like it. I like it.
Thanks.
While they are like shopping around for ornaments, Angela tells Michelle that she's clearly not over Drew and that their breakup around Christmas years ago might be what causes her Christmas fog, which makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I know after my mom passed, the weekends were extremely hard for me because she passed on a weekend. So it was like I would be fine during the week, and then weekends were, really hard. So that makes sense to me. Okay, Drew and Michelle discussed his skill with the Christmas lights. How did you think? Like, what did you think of the way the lights were done on that tree? It seemed a little odd to me, like just personally. How would you connect the lights?
I don't know. I mean, I thought I liked the lights, but then I could see where.
Yeah, I mean, it was neat. It was different, but like they were just like cascading down the tree rather than being like wrapped around the tree. Yeah. So I can't help wondering like how they would be plugged in and.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't think I've seen a tree with lights strung that way, but I have seen trees with garland strung that way.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen one with
the ribbon that like goes down the yeah.
I don't know. Inquiring minds want to know if anyone has ever put the lights on like hanging down the tree instead of going. I want to know how they plug in. Inquiring minds want to know this stuff.
Yes.
So yeah. Okay, so earlier in the movie, Michelle had asked Drew if his job was fun. And he was kind of like, fun? They went through the list and she finally got to demanding. Yeah. He's like, yeah, I'll take demanding. So when they're talking about the lights, he says he may have missed his calling. And do you want to take Michelle?
Sure.
Okay. Drew says, well, if I don't get these documents out, a change in careers might not be an option.
Well, they can't fault you for bad weather. Plus, it's Christmas.
Yeah, well, bad weather isn't an option. Christmas isn't an option. Even family events aren't an option.
This is what you want?
I thought I did, but now that I'm hearing it out loud, it doesn't seem very fun.
Yeah, not at all.
I had an offer to work at a family law not far from here, actually.
Really? You turned it down?
Yeah, the firm offered me partner and more money. So, but I love the fact that he says, now that I'm hearing it out loud, it doesn't seem very fun. Like, it just kind of takes it back to that. Oh, and the fact that while they're putting stuff on the tree, Courtney reminds them to not take the tags off, and Angela's like, yes, please. It's like, I still have to sell this stuff.
Yeah. Like we need the price tag on it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously some of the stuff, like we're coming up to them making gingerbread houses. Obviously some of the stuff, they're buying as they're using, but some of it they're just, kind of using and putting it back. How about that inflatable candy cane fight?
That was cute. I think that was one of my favorite parts of the movie.
Yes, it was adorable. Like, okay, I guess the image that comes to my mind is like pool noodles. Like how you would
Yes.
like sword fight with pool noodles. That's essentially the same thing. It's just with inflatable candy canes.
Speaking of pool noodles, this is kind of funny.
Mhm.
Sometimes when I was a kid and like I would go to a friend's house or like my grandmother's house when she had a pool.
Mhm.
My other grandmother's house, not the one I'm currently at, but we would take pool noodles and you know how they have the holes in them?
Mhm.
We would like put the part where the hole is under the water, and then we would like take it out of the water and bring it to our mouth, and we would like blow on it to try to get the water to go out the other side.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I feel like me and my brother did that when we were kids because we had a pool at the house we grew up in. Yeah, I feel like we did that as well. I thought it was really cool that they decided to build the town of Parker instead of just building houses. I thought that was really cute. Richie built the post office because that's where he works.
Yeah.
Angela decides to build the gazebo because she always wanted to get married there. I thought it was adorable that Richie's commenting that she's single. Like you can tell he's interested in her, and it is so flippin' cute.
Yes.
Oh man. And then Courtney makes the amphitheater because she plays guitar.
Yeah.
Michelle makes her clinic as if she got the grant with a new adoption room, acre of land for the animals to run around, and 3 candy canes representing her new assistants.
Yep.
Also, how about how many? Okay, are all of the animals that she listed off, are those her pets, or are those like just animals she's bringing home from the
I don't
clinic?
know.
Like, because 3 cats, 2 dogs, 1 parrot, 3 turtles, and 2 cottontails, and 24 fish in the 100-gallon tank is a lot of pets.
I would think she would just be taking them home, like you said.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I like the fact that Drew teased her about having a partridge in a pear tree too.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
I mean, they said something about like talk about taking your work home with you, and she was like perks of the job or something. So I don't know. But that's still a lot.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And Drew doesn't have any animals because his apartment complex doesn't allow them. He stays so busy.
Yep.
What did you think of his choice for what he was building?
I thought he did a great job on that.
Yeah. And I like when he says something about that he's building the library, and Angela asks why. And Michelle's like,
I love that. Yeah.
And of course, as she's saying no reason, he's telling Angela that that's where they had their first kiss. So,
Yeah. Isn't this the movie where there was a comment about like looking stuff up online versus going to the library to do research?
yes, Courtney asked, like, why would you do research on at the library instead of just doing it online? Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. And of
That
course
was
they got to talking about how less distracting it is to have a book instead of like, scrolling on your phone or whatever.
Yeah.
And, even if the internet goes out, with a very pointed look at Angela.
Yes. Yep.
Yes. Oh man. Okay, let's move on to the subject of fruitcake. Have you ever had fruitcake? I have not.
No.
I have
I have
not,
not.
but I have to say, any I have ever seen looks disgusting.
It does kind of look gross.
Yeah. I mean, me and my dad's girlfriend were talking about it the other day because her grandmother used to make fruitcake, and she said she actually used to help her grandmother make fruitcake.
Mhm.
And she was talking about the process, and she was like, make it early in the year and freeze it, and then just pull it out at Christmas and thaw it out. And like it's not a quick throw together thing, apparently.
Yeah.
She also said that you like, I guess you have to kind of let it set up in certain ways, whatever. I think I don't remember if there's actually rum in the cake or not, but I know she said that you make it in like a bundt pan.
Mhm.
And you know, that has like the hole in the middle
Yes.
of it. And she said she's literally never seen anybody make that without putting a little cup of rum in the middle to keep the cake soft. So
Yeah.
essentially, a fruit cake is a pickled cake.
Yeah, that kind of sounds gross.
In a way. Like, yeah. I mean, no offense to Aunt Bev or anybody that likes fruitcake.
Yeah.
If y'all have a better explanation of fruitcake that would actually make us want to try it, we want to hear about it. But
Yeah.
I've never seen one like at the store or anything that had any appeal to me whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we have a little bit of confrontation between Drew and Michelle when they're talking about this fruitcake. Drew says, well, maybe when we're done building our gingerbread town, I can give you the secret ingredients. Michelle says, wow, yes, finally, the secret will be revealed after all these years. Drew says, well, if you really wanted it, you should have just reached out and asked. And she said, I would have, but I didn't hear from you. So he says, well, cell phones do work both ways, Michelle.
Oof.
Like, how do you feel about that? And I get that it's slightly different with like boyfriend, girlfriend breaking up.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you feel about that, about being the one to reach out to someone in this situation? Like, if you were in Michelle's shoes,
Mm-hmm.
do you think you would have reached out to Drew?
Maybe. That's kind of hard because I've never been in that situation, so I can't say for sure.
I guess for me, like, I don't know. I feel like I'm a person that tries to keep in touch with people.
Mm-hmm.
So I would probably, and like technically I've never been in a relationship with the one guy that's basically my ex without technically he's not, but anyway, it's confusing. But like, I don't really talk to him as a general rule, but there have been a couple of times, like since my mom passed away, he lost his dad years ago. And so there's been a couple of times since my mom passed away that I've reached out to him asking, you know, questions or whatever. So I don't think it's wrong to reach out, even if, you know, if nothing else, just see if you can be friends. And if that doesn't work out, then fine. But I guess I can understand the thought process of kind of not wanting to prolong something, you know. Skipping ahead, they have a conversation about you know, just kind of why they made the decisions that they did. But wrapping that conversation up, Michelle says, I love what we had when we were younger, but we're not those people anymore. Work Drew and work Michelle. We haven't even met yet. So let's just enjoy this night together and make it one last Christmas to remember.
Yeah.
And then we find out they have like all the houses set up, and we see all of those.
Yeah.
And Tristan made Santa's house
Yes.
in the middle of town square, which I love. And then they discuss how nice it is to be disconnected from their phones and the demands of getting text every 5 seconds. I will say that was one thing I loved about the cruise I went on. Like, I love being in touch with people, but at the same time, it was really nice to not be available constantly. Like,
Yeah, like, okay, so like for me, there's one time where I try to stay disconnected. Well, um spend time with family when I'm with family. But of course, I do get on my phone while I'm with family. But there's one time specifically where I'm not like on my phone as much, and it is on my mission trip. Like, for example, I'll sometimes run my phone down when I'm on the site, in between, like when we're on our breaks and I'm taking pictures of what's going on, just for fun updates and stuff to post on social media or whatever. But like when we get back to the school, I'll plug it in and I'll leave it in the room where all of the girls sleep. And I'll like go and hang out in the gym and I won't even have my phone on me. And it is so nice because I'm just spending time with my friends and I'm not worried about anything. Like, I'm not worried about Instagram post or it is so nice.
I don't think we realize how tied to that we are. I know I've gotten to where I'm actually trying to make myself take more pictures now.
Yeah.
Because used to I would take a ton of pictures and stuff, and I felt like I was so busy capturing the moment that I wasn't in the moment. Well, now I'm realizing that I've gone the other direction and I've tried to be so focused on being in the moment that I don't have any pictures to look back on. So like, I've got to find a balance in this.
Yeah, like it's kind of a what's the right term to use? It's kind of like I'm glad that I'm not like on my phone as much, but at the same time I wish that there were moments I have captured over the years that I had my phone in that moment or that I had remembered to capture something.
Yeah. Well, I think too, again, like since I lost my mom and stuff, that, I'm realizing how precious it is to have pictures with people when you're doing stuff. And like, it's easy to just get together with somebody and not take pictures and hang out. And I think those times are great.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I wish I had more pictures with my mom. She didn't take pictures. My dad does not take pictures. So, but I agree. It's nice to, to not be so tied.
Yeah. For example, like there was one time, I think it was my site in 2011. We had repaired a home for a very sweet lady. We all called her Miss Dot, but her name was Dorothy. And on the last day of work, we had finished our work for the week. Like, we had done everything we needed to do. And now we were just having free time to spend, getting to know her more. And we were talking about music. Like, we got on the conversation of what kind of music she likes, what kind of music we all like. And I cannot remember how this came up, but the Cupid Shuffle came up and we taught her how to do the Cupid Shuffle. I wish so much that I had gotten a video of that.
Right? Aw.
But one of the other guys that I'm friends with that was on my site got it. I don't know if he still has it, but
Aw.
It was really sweet. But anyway, off topic. We got way off topic there for a second.
Yeah, I think it's sweet though. I think it's sweet.
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah.
Okay, so Angela decides to display the gingerbread town, and Michelle
Mhm.
tells her she should have a ginger town contest every year, which
Yeah.
took me back to James Healy in Love at the Christmas contest with all his the Ginger Gate Bridge and
The Leaning Tower of Ginger.
Tower. Yes.
What was it? Ginger Washington? I might have gotten that
I
wrong.
think that's right. I think that's right. So hi James, if you happen to be watching this. I know he follows our podcast now.
I'm sorry if I said that wrong.
Oh man.
Something along those lines.
Yeah, it was something along those lines. Yep. And then I thought it was really sweet that Drew and Michelle said that they're glad they're stuck
Yes.
together for
Mhm.
Christmas. And Drew talks about his goals of slowing down and having fun once
Yeah.
he makes partner at his firm. I thought it was so
Mhm.
funny that he just starts like yelling, I want to have fun. Like,
Yeah.
so cute.
Yeah.
We kind of get obviously Angela's line right there of Michelle's Christmas magic strikes again. I swear 1 minute with her and Scrooge would have changed his tune instantly. He wouldn't have needed to be visited by 3 ghosts to show him the spirit of Christmas, which of course took me back to Ghost of Christmas
Always
from this year.
Yes.
Such a good movie. Oh man, that's one of my favorites. I
Yes.
loved that movie so much.
Yes.
There's still several I need to catch up on, but that one I did get to watch, and that one was a favorite. I loved it.
Yes.
Yes.
The power goes out, but there
Mhm.
are backup generators. Everyone gets blankets and lights. There are no D batteries on the shelf. So when Courtney takes Michelle to the storage room, they discuss her shyness to play guitar in front of people. I thought that she played the guitar really well.
She does. Yeah. She really did. We got to see that immediately after that fact.
Yep. I wonder if she actually knew how to play before this movie or she learned for this movie.
I don't know. It's a good question. Or did she know how to fake it very well? Because it's a possibility she didn't actually know how to play.
That's possible too, because we know from certain things, certain shows that involve horseback riding, that some people didn't know.
Oh my gosh. I love in the interview with Charlotte how she talks about some of the stuff that was on her resume, that she's like, when you start off, you're 17 or whatever, and you did this 3 years ago, and you're like, oh yeah, I can do that. And then it just stays on your resume, and you're 30 years old now, and you're like, yeah, I would kill myself if I tried to do that right now. Like,
no hard feelings, no ill will or anything, just kind of funny.
Yeah, no. So Michelle finds herself on a candlelit path to a beautiful display of Christmas lights and a table set up for a romantic dinner date with Drew. I should have been wearing my Team No Candles shirt for this one, apparently.
The setup was really beautiful.
It was, but in reality, when the heck would anybody have had time to get that set up when they were not all together? There's no flipping way. The magic of TV land.
Yes. Yeah.
But there is no way
Mm-hmm.
this could have actually gotten set up.
Yes.
Yeah. And the conversation between Drew and Michelle here was really, really sweet.
It was. Yeah.
I love when he says, listen, I think we're both here for a reason tonight. I feel that someone or something is giving us a second chance, and I'm not going to let that slip away.
You're not going to leave your law firm? Once the morning comes, you're going to realize that this was just a moment.
Look, sometimes I can be a little lost, but you never were. You always stayed true to what you believed in.
Yeah, and I believed in us, and that didn't work out.
Well, we can take it slow. This can be our first date.
Our first date?
Our first date is worker Michelle and worker Drew. I loved that because it's like, I loved that because he's basically telling her, we're not gonna try to pick up where we left off.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting a
Yeah.
second chance here, but you're right. We are different people now. So there's a particular, I think it's in the show Christy, that this guy says you can't go back, but you can go forward. And I love that because you can't go back. So him acknowledging that shows how he's matured, and that he really wants to make this work now, find a way to make it work now. Then the whole group gets back together, and I meant to look up who played Richie because his voice reminds me of the voice of Remy's brother in Ratatouille, and I can't even think of the character's name.
I don't know. I would have to look that up too.
But especially when he's like, when he agrees to try the fruitcake,
Mhm.
and he's like chewing and talking or whatever, that voice sounds so like, and I cannot for the life of me think of Remy's brother
Yeah.
in the movie Ratatouille. And it might not be the same guy, but the voice
Yeah.
sounds very familiar to me,
Mhm.
like, or very similar to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. How sweet was it when they exchanged gifts? Michelle obviously agreed to the second date with Drew as his gift. They gave Tristan the robot kit, and that Drew gave Michelle her grant papers, basically notarized. It's not exactly notarized, but he has some authority. I don't know. I got lost in that whole conversation, to tell you the truth. But he had authority, being a contract lawyer, to like sign her papers and whatever, and have them ready for her.
That was really sweet. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then the power comes back on.
And Drew's phone starts working again. He lets everyone use his phone to make calls to their families. He tells Michelle he has to go back to New York without even going to see Aunt Bev, or he'll lose his job.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, I get it. Like, I really loved the conversation, Angela's pep talk to
Mhm.
Michelle a
Yeah.
little later on,
Yeah.
where she reminds her that Drew isn't trying to disconnect from Michelle just because he's trying to connect to work.
Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
that is something that I feel like is such, like, one thing that drives me nuts in movies is that people don't communicate. There's no
Mhm.
talk this out, work this out, figure this out. It's a this or nothing thing. And that's
Mhm.
not how life works. That is not how life works. And so I loved that Angela kind of reminded Michelle
Mhm.
of that.
Yeah.
And that he's got to try to find a balance.
Mhm.
They literally just kind of got back together. He's still got to wrap up stuff,
Yeah.
even if, she's just kind of trying to remind Michelle to not expect herself to be everything
Yeah.
to Drew when he still has responsibilities, as he mentioned in a previous conversation with Michelle. I did think it was really sweet that Tristan told Drew that he and Michelle had something special, but that he
Mhm.
wouldn't get a third chance. He's
Yeah.
like, all right, Don't mess this up.
Yeah.
And you will mess this up if you go to New York. So, oh man. I mean, is it just me, or did everybody start getting ready to leave the store the second the power came back on and he got signal? It's like everybody starts getting their stuff ready to leave, and it's like,
Yeah.
pretty sure they still have to plow all the roads and your parking lot before anybody can go anywhere. Like, y'all are still there for a few hours. So,
No one's going anywhere.
yeah, nobody's going anywhere.
And speaking of that, that reminds me of the beginning of the movie when Drew and Michelle were trying to leave, and Angela was like, no one's going anywhere. I'm not letting my best friend get on the icy roads. No. No.
Yeah. Also, again, magic of TV land. Obviously, they were in the store overnight. I would be very cranky at that point if I had not had any sleep. I mean,
And just for comical purposes, how did they all brush their teeth?
well, I mean, they are in a store. I guess they could have grabbed toothbrushes and stuff, but still.
Okay, that was a stupid question. I take that back.
No, I mean, I think it was a very valid question, actually. The thing that just came to my mind is nobody actually, like, we don't actually see anybody pay for all the stuff that they used the night before.
No.
Well, in Drew's defense, like, he was the one that said he was going to buy Michelle said it too, but Drew was the one that was going to buy the gingerbread houses and stuff. And in his defense, he wasn't planning on leaving yet when he ended up chasing Michelle out the door.
Yeah.
But still. Yeah. Thought it was really cute that Richie was helping Angela clean up the store. Although this was, all right, again.
I was about to mention that.
This was a question. If Richie works at the post office, why couldn't Michelle have just handed him her grant papers? I'm too technical for TV.
Really, though?
I mean, except for the fact she needed the excuse to get out of there. But I mean, even at that, she walked out of the store before they have even plowed the parking lot.
Maybe she was worried it would get lost at the DLO.
Maybe. I don't know.
I couldn't resist.
No, yeah. I mean, my mother trusted nobody, so I could see that with my mom. She would want to take it herself and not trust anybody else to do it. I mean, we saw what happened with Oliver trying to get a Valentine to Shane and trusting somebody to deliver it.
Cough, cough. Hazel. Cough, cough. Still love you, Hazel.
And
Played
then
by Jill Morrison.
Although actually it was more Rita's fault than it was Hazel's, because Hazel gave them to Rita to get to Shane, and Rita didn't get it to Shane.
Well,
So
Rita was busy with the Miss Special Delivery duties.
Yeah.
So, but we still love you, Rita and Hazel.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess I could kind of see it, but still, that thought just went through my head. Richie works at the post office. Like, just give him the papers. But anyway, I realized she was trying to get out of there. Things were awkward for her, or whatever. But of course, she leaves a couple of packages for Drew. I have to wonder what was in the other package. Like, we know the wreath was one of them, but there were 2 packages. So what else did she leave?
That's a good question. I like how Tristan says, "Your move, pal," and Drew says, "Hey, wait, thanks for the wreath." And then Michelle says, "Oh, you're welcome. Merry Christmas."
Mm-hmm. I'll pick up. Let me see.
Drew, what's the next one?
Yeah, I was just wondering. Why not? We'll just read through the thing because it's a long conversation, but it leads up to a really good point.
Yes.
He says, "No, look, listen. When we were kids, I thought I could chase my happiness and find it somewhere else, but that never happened. The best times and the happiest times are right here in this town with you."
You can't change your whole life just because you had one magical night stuck in the store with me.
Leaving you all those years ago was changing, and coming here is growing. We made a decision over a decade ago that we thought was the practical thing. We thought it was the smart thing, but it wasn't the right thing.
Look, I really have to get to the post office.
Spend Christmas with me.
In Manhattan?
No, here with Aunt Bev.
We're just delaying the inevitable.
Yes, we are. That's exactly why I just turned down the partnership.
I don't understand.
Do you remember that job I told you about a while ago? The one practicing family law?
Yeah?
Well, I called them and they still want me.
What? Why would you do that?
Because I didn't have a strong enough reason to say yes before.
But you worked so hard for that partnership in New York.
Yes, and the petless apartment and losing the woman that I love. I worked too hard at not listening to my heart, and my heart tells me that I love you. And then, of course, they kiss.
Wow, this is some first date.
That was some first date. Talk about going from 0 to 60.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And Drew and Michelle go to Aunt Bev's for Christmas. Aunt Bev has adopted a kitten that Michelle helped deliver. They plan to decorate and then go to Angela's for the employee Christmas dinner. And that is the end of the movie. Scene.
And scene. Oh man.
Such a good movie.
Yeah. I try to remember what it's called because normally you do the slate before a scene.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember what it's called. Tails is what it's called when you do the slate after the scene. If somebody starts it, like if it gets started without doing the slate before the scene, it's called tails to do the slate after the scene.
That's cool. I didn't know that, I don't think.
And I'm impressed I remembered what a slate is called, actually, because I never can remember what it's called.
Oh, I thought it was called a film clapper.
Right? I always want to call it like a clapboard or something. Like I never can remember what it's called.
Oh.
So I can't say anything there.
I
but
would
yeah.
probably go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I would probably rate this movie 8 out of 10.
That's what I was thinking. Like dead on, that's what I was thinking. I loved this movie. I loved the creativity of having basically everything at the market. I guess in some ways that could be viewed as low budget because I mean one filming location is a lot cheaper than having multiple filming locations.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, so I mean it could be a low budget thing or it could just be how it was written. Which I think again the creativity to make it all happen at one spot is really really good.
Yeah.
There are several confusing moments about the script, such as when Michelle and Drew actually dated. Also the fact that he tells her twice that he still has that polar bear ornament And the second time he tells her, she's like, oh, really? Like, he hasn't said it before.
Yeah.
There was something else. And I don't remember. There was another spot in the movie that I noticed that something seemed repetitive or something, and I don't remember where it was in it. So definitely there are some things with the writing that could be better, but overall I would give it a solid 85%, I guess, on the quality of writing. I loved the chemistry. I thought it was very well cast. I was not familiar with any of these actors, but I thoroughly enjoyed all of them. Sometimes it's hard for me to enjoy something if I don't know who's in it. Like the familiarity of watching somebody that you like on screen is, is a lot of what makes something for me. But I thoroughly enjoyed this movie, regardless of not knowing any of the cast. So yeah, I would give it a solid 8 out of 10.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, and totally off topic, but you were saying the familiarity. It, like, when you see or when you watch a movie with someone that is like, a favorite, and it's even better when you meet them, like when you've gotten to meet them in person. Like the movie that we're getting ready to talk about for Swing My Heart, Ashley Williams' movie, 5 More Minutes, Moments Like These. Of course, I met her at Rama Drama, so she was awesome. She's awesome.
Yeah. I know it's that way with Ronnie Shell. That once I met him, of course he played in a lot like in the 60s and stuff. But once I met him, I'm like, this is Ronnie. Like, if you see him on screen, you have met him, literally. Like, there is no, some people play something opposite of how they are in real life. Ronnie, that is definitely not the case. So it definitely is interesting to see something. Well, heck, I was watching a murder mystery show on like ID channel or whatever, at Nana's, and we're sitting there watching it, and all of a sudden I'm like, I know this guy. And the guy that was playing the brother of the girl that got killed, I'm like, I know this guy. And I text him, I'm like, did you play such a, he's like, yes. It was some guy I had met like a couple of years ago.
That's funny.
Like, or there's a like a Buffalo Loops or something like that, some kind of wing place commercial that Jacob Winter is in, and he plays Shane in the Mayberry Man productions. So I'm like, hey, I take a picture. I'm like, hey, guess who just showed up on my screen? That's
funny.
But it's really cool to get to do that. So
and Ashley was just one example of someone.
You've met a ton of these people. I'm jealous. Hey, if I had not already, I would have tried to have been at Rama Drama if I had not already a couple of months before, spent however much money I spent on being at the Hardy's VIP weekend. I take that back. I had the opportunity to meet Jeanette Oak. I was probably not going to pass that up.
I would.
Rama Drama.
She's one of my favorite. She's one of my favorite authors. So I.
Same. Same. But anyway. All right. Anything else to say about this movie before we wrap it up?
No, I think that's pretty much it.
All right. Awesome. Boy, we've been seeing some previews for some of the winter, not Christmas, but winter movies coming out, and Great American Family and Hallmark both look like they've got some good ones coming out. Lori Loughlin has a good one coming out.
Yes, I think that's the one I'm most excited about, followed by Landon's movie, which is next weekend.
There's no way we're gonna stay caught up on all this stuff, but we're gonna try. We're gonna get there. All right, thanks for listening, guys. We'll be back soon. We love y'all, and that's it. Bye.